Could stress be just the combination of being in too many of your aspects at the same time, or fluttering through too many rapidly? Uh, yeah, I have. Oh, this is I'm just stretching my neck because I've been suffering a lot of neck pain and discomfort, and this is a ridiculous way, intentionally recorded so that I'm just trying to reveal more truth just as a social experiment, and to mention that I am fluttering through being in a state of body where I am like listening to every part of my body. And when I think about stretching my neck because my body is giving me signals that it's in discomfort, and I really zone into my body, and I kind of start just moving my head around and moving my shoulders and trying to identify where in my body is it stiff, where does it hurt, like what's going on, really try and feel and locate all the sensations. And I do that, and I come to the realization that it feels good when I try and mobilize my neck and I stretch it out. And I realize I bought this thing and hooked it up to my door, and I enjoy the sensations that it's having of pulling my spine more straight. And obviously, I'm not a doctor, and this is just an experiment for myself. But instead of keeping it private, somehow I'm choosing to just say, well, this is truth. If I say who I am is a truth seeker, then this is truth. And in this state of being in a high body state, where I'm listening to my body in a high state, and I'm able to observe all of these things, and I start looking for solutions using the mind to try and find answers to my challenges. And one of the things that's going on is my mind is constantly working in the background, trying to problem solve, trying to find answers, trying to identify everything and know everything and learn everything. And I noticed that going on in the background always. And sometimes I would just stay inside my mind and locked there, and time would pass by. I wouldn't be doing anything much. I'd just be lost in my thoughts. And in the kind of lifestyle that I have now, with I have such a privilege of having a lot of time because I'm not tied to a job, a workplace, a set of duties. I'm in between work. I'm struggling. I'm on government support, and that's subsidizing my income from photography and from graphic design and artworking and the existing kind of career that I have made. And this is all my truth. And I've got to acknowledge all of these truths just as a kind of like a diary entry. But I'm choosing to at the same time publish that diary entry somehow. And I feel like it's a step in the right direction. Because why not? And then that leads you to the aspect of ego. And you realize, oh, ego is running in the background all the time as well. Whenever I'm out in public, I'm always self-conscious, and I realize this aspect is constantly in charge. And it's only when you allow yourself to get into a higher state, into a state of flow, through whichever way that is, and then you spend your time thinking less, and then you step outside of your mind, you're able to quieten it, because the state of body, for example, that you're in, or the state of high that you're in, or the state of will, the aspects, when you're in those aspect states, they take over and they can mute or silence, pause the other aspects experience. So what I mean is, I can choose to step outside of my ego and choose to not let my automatic reactions happen. In conversations, if someone was to give me a remark and my ego is triggered, then that's a clear reminder that I can allow this course of action to happen because I'm aware of it, or I can allow it to feel like it's bubbling up and then, correct myself before an automatic trigger occurs. And so that's a social example of how ego is dominant throughout my experiences, my life. What's capturing my attention? Where is my awareness? And so it kind of leads back to all of these things I've been saying about aspects and states to be in. And I know all throughout this time, you cannot focus on what I'm saying, because this is the absurdity of this is capturing your attention, and it's the attention of your ego. And I didn't plan to do this. I was just stretching my neck out, and I thought, oh, okay, well, because I'm in my high mind state and I'm having a lot of these inspired, truthful realizations, just ideations in my mind, in my high mind, I've chosen to document them because I think they have great significance. And although they come out very abstract, and I can choose to later on tune further out of a high state and more into my body state, and within that state, working with the mind, I can problem solve and I can kind of coalesce these, streams of consciousness. I can collect them as notes, as points of information along the way. And yeah, so you're just distracted. Your ego is distracted, right? But that's what happens throughout life. Our egos are always distracted and taking our attention. Our awareness is pretty much always within the area of the ego. And we live our days like that. And the thing that's stressing us out is when we flutter between too many aspect states. We are channeling will to make decisions and to enact stuff, to just go and do that thing. And if you are one with discipline, then you are definitely one with will, because it's setting a commitment and you will yourself to do that. Whatever it is, you make a commitment and you do it. And I in areas of my personal life, I definitely lack a stronger relationship with will. I feel like I am more numb to, I don't know, accepting either side of the spectrum. I kind of stay in a comfort zone. And so I rarely have to enact a strong will. So that's why I don't really know exactly what I want, but I know what I don't want. And so I'm spending more time moving away from something than moving towards something. And that's all within the realm of, well, are you going to enact will or not to empower you? Because if you don't, then you'll kind of float along without conscious decision and will towards a trajectory. Because will is the thing that gives you laser focus. I mean, it might not be the reason behind your actions in terms of the catalyst, but will is the function, the ability, the superpower to enact and to do and to just decide, I'm going to do this and I'm going to keep doing that. And anything can inspire will. Being in a high state definitely inspires will. And that's why I'm able to decide to just pick up a camera and start recording this. Again, as an affront to ego, because I have momentarily left the grips of ego, right? That permits me to step out my comfort zone and just embrace the creativity, the playful nature of my experience. And my experience has been playful in my mind when in a high mind state and in the flow, and you're ideating and you're creating all these stories in your mind, and you're having an enjoyable time. You're playing. Your mind is playing with grace. So in those states, I do truly believe and feel and resonate with all of these notions that's coming through, all of these observations that I've been having throughout my life and my experience. And yeah, the only way I know how is to document them, and I do get sidetracked. So it's good to start having a conversation with someone else to engage with me through this journey, through this weird, super cringy, super real, and like honest approach to documenting my own madness and my own brilliance and my own humility that's going to be needed. Yeah, I'm leaning into lots of discomforts, and I have no idea where it's going, but I'm somehow releasing a lot of things. And in this process, I'm trying to relieve a lot of stress built in my body. So it says I need to move a lot of my upper back, my spine area, my neck area. I'm probably just going to go start swimming. I think that will rotate my upper back. But yeah, all of these things. Oh yes, stress. So if you keep throughout your whole existence, your attention, your awareness is going back, and it's just like flying all over the place, and everything is catching your attention, and your body is screaming at you, oh, I need your attention, I'm in pain, I'm in discomfort, you need to eat, you're panicking and stuff like that. Like, you need to slow your breath, or you need to breathe more properly, and you need to control your breath, and your body is giving you signals, and your ego is constantly running a show, and your mind won't shut the fuck up because it needs to work, and your will, your determination to stick to your commitments, to hit your goals and your targets and all the demands. You need the power of will, the sheer force of will to really enact all the things that you need to do in life. You need to get your shit done. And so you're using a great deal of energy, and it's split between all of these different aspects that's happening within you, that's taking your awareness every single moment of every single day. That is exhausting. That is exhausting. So when you start to realize, oh, I could choose to look at myself in all these different fragmented characteristics, give them labels, call them aspects, and start seeing confirmations within my own experience. Like, I'm like, yeah, that happens, and everyone else is talking about the same thing using similar or different labels as generic terms. But I'm not a scientist, and I'm not looking at this retrospectively. I'm just trying to find the best words I can to label these experiences, and it is going to be helpful when I show it in a visual form, which I shall do soon. I'm trying to, I don't know, gather my wits together to go through this visually and talk about experiences within each of these aspects, and it'll all start making more sense when you're visually able to identify all the different types of awareness that you can have within yourself at any given time. And when you become more familiar with the concept and the self-observations, then you do see them in action more, and you have more ability to take control and reset and go, okay, I don't want to be enthralled in the mind right now, or I don't want to be enthralled in the ego right now, or I would rather have more space for grace to come through and for me to be free to play more. Why not? Because the studies will show that why is it that adults can't play? We are not permitted by ego, by society, by judgment, all of that kind of stuff. Why we can't behave how we truly feel at any given moment. It's radical, it's crazy, but I'm not advocating that we all just, rip off our clothes and do what the hell we want. I'm using the extreme version to say, let's try and identify what other aspect is going on here. Let's investigate flow. Let's investigate being in the zone. Let's investigate being in a high state. Let's investigate grace. That's what I'm saying. Investigate the truth that is within you, that it's not quite fitting to the taste of society. So you have to deal with it in your own mind, in your own experience. You have to just kind of deal with not quite staying within the boundaries of what's acceptable. And that's what I find when I attune to a higher state. And I find myself changing in all of these ways. And they're not from ego, because this is an affront to ego. I'm not doing this to get attention, kind of, for like the thumbnail of it. But I don't care about this. I don't care about how I'm perceived anymore, because I see that as one of the crippling things of ego. And I'm trying to spend less time having ego as taking up all of my awareness and all of my decision making. I want to be free to think and feel how I do. And go from there. I want to better myself. And the more I find myself in the higher states, within the body, and developing a stronger relationship with will in the future, and in the opposite end of the spectrum, the soul, which I believe I have a very rich, deep soul and strong moral intentions to find and apply betterment in my own life and in the world. That's at the core of it. But it's like it's so far flung from our ego-centered experiences. So that's why I feel like I need to identify what's going on here. Who the hell are we? Why are we acting like this? And I've got my theories now, and it's time that I start sharing them out there and start asking people if they resonate with what I'm about to show them. And hopefully it will create more conversations around, yeah, I see that and I'm aware of that within myself. And before, we didn't really have cohesive labeling or language or forms of understanding. It was kind of like scattered all over the place. But now I've, gathered some up, and I've created something that could be absorbed. And it's very energetically depleting, being in multiple states at the same time and letting them all take my attention, take my focus, take my energy. because I can be simultaneously recording this video whilst being in my high mind state, and also coming from being in a high body state where I felt the original neck pain. And now I find myself doing many things at the same time. And this kind of process, allowing yourself to be spread out too thinly across so many areas of your awareness. Your awareness is taken up in so many different areas, always fluctuating between different states. It's not easy. I think that's stress. I think that's strain. And it's not limited to just being within your body. Our body is usually just the symptomatic part of stress, unfortunately. Poor body. Body just wants to function. So this isn't helping my own stress levels, but I do feel like whenever I have these transcendent notions, that I need to document them, and it helps when ego doesn't get in the way and mind doesn't get in the way, because they have been so used to working together in their own way that they cannot and will not accept novel ideas. They won't let them be. So when I notice the ego in me and in society always not letting people be who they are and just getting to know that person, and at least when you get to know yourself fully, then you're able to accept yourself more and love yourself more. And we should all do that for ourselves and for each other. And all of that niceness, all of that goodness, that's all a huge part of positive mental health, is acknowledging all the diversity that's within us and the diversity obviously outside. So yeah, it's all a big process, and the lighting's all, whatever it is, this is just, I'm kind of stuck in this position. So yeah, I don't really care about how I look right now, but I will when I'm more in my ego state, when I'm tuned less in a high state, less in a body state, and I revert back to only being in my ego mind, and that's very limiting.